Good morning and a warm welcome to the Full 80 podcast. It's actually, we're not mentioning what morning it is because sometimes Sam tricks us a bit when he puts it out. So we're going to start off with a little bit of a preview of the weekend's Challenge Cup matches and a little bit of review of what we think of the season so far. Let's go straight into the season so far.
Yeah, I'll get the league table up.
So, without sounding condescending, I did tip KR to win it.
Yeah.
I didn't say they'd win the grand final, but I certainly never had Hull FC second.
No.
And I don't know about anybody else who watches the show. I don't know how many people had Hull second. I reckon nobody.
I doubt it, but yeah, I'm sure a few Hull fans were pretty confident. They always are, the Hull fans, and proven right so far.
I don't even think they did, Joe. I think that it took top 8. I don't think anybody would have said that.
It's up to 6 games in.
Which will go on to the preview for the Challenge Cup, which I think is the most exciting game. You know, certainly what I've watched the last 2 derbies, but we'll go on to that in a bit. But you know, Hull, unbelievable for East Yorkshire rugby.
Yeah.
Wigan, the reigning champions, just starting to show their teeth a little bit. Saints, and it's weird this, isn't it? Wigan, here's one for you. Wigan at the same points as Saints. Yet we all think Saints have had a shocking start. Somehow the media have convinced us that Wello's under pressure and this and that. Yet Wigan are on the same points and not one person said a word.
No.
They're just thinking Wigan will come when it matters. They'll just drop the hammer and they'll go into it. Whereas Saints, and I'm going to go the same for Warrington. Warrington are on the same points after 6 games, 8 points. Why is it? Why is that?
I think some of the nature of the wins, Saints have. I think Saints, other than the Castleford and who did they play last weekend? I can't. Other than maybe 1 or 2 performances this year, I don't think they've looked too convincing yet. I don't think the attack's meshing that well. They're grinding these wins out. I think when Wigan have won, it's been a bit more convincing. They've got Bevan and Jai, like you said, that can explode at any time. Warrington, it's more on the defensive end, isn't it? And that pack, there's a few critics. I
think you're going too technical with it. I think it's that because everyone now trusts Wigan to be the best team, and Wigan can float about and then just hit a run. Whereas,
no, I think it's the nature of the performances. I think,
right.
I that's what I think anyway. I think Saints haven't looked as convincing, even though they're grinding out the wins and they're in 4th position. I don't think the heat should be on Saints. Like you said, the media has, not the media. Well, Mick Gledall, Twitter, a lot of pressures on Paul Wellings. I think after a none.
Yeah, but they've got new half-back combinations. They're trying new systems. They've got few injuries, like I'm sure everyone has.
Yeah.
Lewis Murphy did his hamstring after the first game. You know, so. I don't know. I think it's the expectancy on Wigan now is that they can just turn it on at any time and hit a run.
Yeah, but you're talking about 3rd, 4th and 5th position.
I spoke to Matty Pete about this, and I'd love to get Wigan fans and Warrington fans. I think the Vegas trip took a lot out of them 2 teams.
Well, it does for the NRL as well. The NRL, the teams, it took them 2 weeks now. Warriors have gone from having a shocking defeat in Vegas to looking one of the form teams in the comp in the NRL, so I think it definitely does take a lot out of them.
Yeah, I think it does, and I think it'd have to be looked at next year if it is Leeds and KR, and they do that. I think that's something that the teams will have to take into account now, that how much effect it can have on the team, and I don't think it's the on-field stuff at Vegas. I think it's the off-field stuff and the travelling and the stuff that comes with it. To market the game, you're expected to go out there every night and so. Interesting times, but I just found that interesting that Wigan, Saints and Warrington, you know, some people have even started saying Sam's, you know, he's not got the thing anymore like he had. People are starting to and Sam's been under pump after Vegas. Well, he's on 8 points. He's on level with them all.
Yeah.
I would say the fixture list so far would have a big bearing on that anyway. So it's who you've played, how many times. I know I spoke to Hull KR yesterday. They've got Hull, then I think they go Wigan, and then I think they go it might be Hull again. Well, it's 4 fixtures anyway that are really tough fixtures. So Hull KR season will probably start this weekend, even though the top, they've then got to go back to back an Hull derby into playing Wigan. That's going to be where, tough to come. So it's interesting expectancy at every club's is so much different. Again, Leigh, 7 points. I keep thinking that Leigh have had a shocking start, with the mid-table.
Why do you think they had an unbelievable start?
Well, I suppose Wakey pumping them at weekend.
Yeah,
as though
they had up to week 3. I think they had 3 wins. They were top of the table.
Then the wheels.
Then they've lost last 3, haven't they? So it's an interesting one, Leigh. I think Rob Mulhern. I think the value of Rob Mulhern without speaking out is probably doubled, because I think the form of Leigh has gone with his injury and coming. Now he's back this week, so it'd be interesting if Leigh now, if with Rob Mulhern coming back from injury, if they go on and win a couple, I think Rob Mulhern's value might double.
Well, good for Rob, that, Joe. Yeah, we like that one. Sorry about that, Degsy and Chesney. We then go to Rhinos on 7. 6, Wakefield on 6. So looking at them 2 teams off the back, Leeds look like they've been competing in every game. The forwards are certainly fronting up. There's just a little bit of connection with the pivots for me that are just not quite right, where they're not opening teams up. But they're certainly competing. It's just the little edges. So Leeds could do better, but I think the sensational at the moment round the ruck, and the forwards are creating this.
Brilliant.
And I just think it's the pivots that need to connect. Wakefield, I just think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that they've come up straight off the bat and are competing at the level they are. No one's blown them away yet. They've been in every game. Certainly, I were there at the KR game. It was a fabulous game. KR came to Wakey.
I think Wakey have had one of the toughest schedules as well out of any team. And if you look, the points difference, they're 16 points in the positive. The clubs above them, you've got Leigh on -13, Warrington on -20, and Leeds Rhinos at 27. So they're in the mix. They're in the mix with everyone there, and I think they've had toughest schedule
you
with a lot.
This actually. I know I don't get in trouble here, but yeah, I spoke.
You normally do when you say.
Yeah, I spoke to Matt, and he mentioned this yesterday. He said, I hope we get a better fixture list next year. I said, what do you mean? He says, mate, we have had an absolute, we've been butchered.
Saints, KR, they've had the lot, haven't they?
We've come up and it's like we've just got the worst draw ever.
Yeah.
And he said, hopefully that evens out. With all due respect, it is done, professionally, and there's no like they used to say in the olden days at the working men's club, you won't raffle this week, you won't raffle the fiddly. I'm sure that doesn't happen. Then we go to Catalans, 4 points, Cas 2, Salford 2, Huddersfield.
Oh yeah, so nothing.
So out of them 4 teams, again, just from the media's point of view, is Catalans have had a little bit of stick, and we'll get onto that when we talk about expansion and the politics of the game on the next segment. But Catalans have definitely looked like they're, I don't think I've seen a Catalan side. Them first 2 or 3 games I were like, but then I watched them. I think that left edge is as good as any left edge in comp, and I think that if they get it right, I just think relying on some very few old legs in there, picking up injuries, and whether the squad's big enough. The people spoke to Steve about this. Letting the fullback go early just absolutely had some right stick about it.
Yeah.
And Steve's opinion would be, well, he was out of contract, he'd already more or less signed there, we knew we were going. We felt he wanted to go early, the player, and we felt that'd have a deterrent on our team. So if he wants to go and he wants to go early, they've obviously got Sam Tompkins who said that, I'm willing to play if he goes. And I think they've made the call. I think they've also made the call on Sam being better than him, if I'll be honest. I think they think Sam, even at 36, is a better player, which is what all KR fans, it's all opinions, this game. But I think if they didn't have Sam, they didn't think you're better, they wouldn't have let him go this year. But I think they think Sam's better. And by his last 3 games, he's outstanding, isn't he? Still
just his injuries, isn't he? But player for player,
have we? But he's certainly that. He's still got the step. He's still bouncing off. His legs look good. His brain, his management. I always think when Sam plays, he just knows how to slow ruck down. He knows how to play at his tempo. He's one of the only players I've ever seen, Sam, who can make the full game play at his tempo.
Yeah.
Like, he literally can inject it when he thinks they've got numbers, and when he needs to slow it down because they're all knackered in defence, he has a way of slowing everything down. So it's a gift. Cass, Joe, what do you think?
Tough start to the season. I think, I don't know. They've had Rowan out. Rowan's come back. It's not made a massive difference, sadly, as of yet. I think that.
He's played one game.
Yeah, I think 2 now.
One.
I think 2. I think that was his second game, but I think the emergence of Fletch Rooney, that first 3 games, obviously biased. We look after Fletch, so we do have a bit of biasty there. But I think that give a life there, saying, well, at least you've got Fletch. Fletch is injured for the next month or 2. I just want to see. I want to see players stand up. Alex Mellor's been fantastic, but the rest, there's certain individuals. I think some big calls need to be made at Cass. We did it in the preview. We kind of previewed them as getting higher than they currently were seen by most, because we're saying, well, there's moves made with her and there's moves going on, and we've not quite seen them moves yet. And I think we need to see some moves. We need to see that impact. Some of the players just aren't quite good enough, in my opinion. Just aren't quite there. And I think that some harsh calls need to be made. You can see there's a young, dynamic group. Danny Wilson and them say there's the 3-year plan. You've got the senior. You've got enough. You've got obviously RZ who's young. You've got the seniors who are young. Fletch coming in. You've got a young pack altogether, minus Griffin, Westy now. But you take a few. There's a youth system coming through. But I need more impact, more moves, and more going on for me. And I think without them moves happening, it's going to be a long season, because I don't think the squad's quite good enough to. It's a very good Super League season, and I think in any other year they'd probably get by. But I think because of how good the rest of the league is, in my opinion, I think it's a fantastic league. It's just not quite good enough this year.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know whether I agree with you completely on the point of it being a good standard so far. I just think Cass is just genuinely disappointing. And I think because of what's happened off the field, it's definitely had an impact on the field. You know, there's still, I don't know if Martin's now signed in his thing. People are still saying Martin doesn't own fully the club. That's got to have an impact. I know they're putting things in. Martin's put things in on the back staff. That is massively different. I went down on Monday, and they've got new cabins, they've got new this, new that. They were a great tempo to the academy, playing, I think it was scholarship at 2:00. And it's definitely got a bit of a vibe, but then there's that feeling that, oh shit, what's happening? What you're saying is that you could tell everyone saying, what is happening? What's the next move Cass are going to make? Where can they get out of this slump? And then you've got 3 young coaches, Danny.
What's the bit you disagree?
Brett Delaney and Scott. So you've got, you can see how stressed they are in that box. And if that stress is going on to players, then the players, unfortunately, you're not at Leigh Rhinos, when they're at the peak. You're not at Wigan, where players can handle that type of stress. I would say majority of Cass players can't handle that. That's why, unfortunately, sometimes that's why they end up at Cass, because they'll be at a top 4 club or 5 club. And I can remember Willie Peters putting pressure on players and people ringing me. I'm not mentioning the names, but they were ringing me going, this is not for me, this is just constant. And if you lose a match, it's like you've shot somebody. That's the pressure at the top. That's why KR are at the top. I think when players then go down, that's probably the difference between a lot of players. Can they handle the expectancy level at being a high-level sportsman or not?
What's the bit you disagree with me on?
The bit I disagree with you on is when you're saying about you're waiting for Cass to make some moves, and you said that they've got this youth coming through. I don't see what you've seen then. Because I've watched the academy this year and I've watched other academies.
No, the youth. No, not the academy. The youth
within
the team. Yeah.
I don't think that youth quality is at the level you think. I think when you're saying that, they've got to be. I haven't gone to Cass and said, wow, they've got top juniors in country. I think they've got one of the top juniors. I ain't seen anything else at the moment this year. So I don't agree with that. That's what I'm saying to you. I've watched Leeds and I've gone.
The average team age is young, like you said.
But I've gone Leeds and I've thought, right, is Riley Lum a future star? Obviously, yes.
Yeah.
So you tick. That's Rooney, Riley Lum, you'd say. I'd say Leeds probably got 3 or 4 where you go, Morgan Gannon could have been an NRL player. Yes, that's a top junior. He's probably played 70 games and he's 21-year-old. I don't think Cass have got that, if I'm being honest. I think Wigan have probably got it. I think Saints, your man, the centre, and the couple others who are just...
He's not my man, though.
Well, you said, George Delaney, they're top level. In fact, I'll say it here so people can quote me. I think we'll beat Australia in the Test series coming up, and I think they'll be blown away. I'm watching bits of NRL this morning, and I'm watching it thinking, brilliant on what Mike Nico Morgan have done this morning. I mean, I don't know what the result's going to be. Nico scored an inside ball, but that standard don't look as hot as what they're all making. I know it's going to be somebody might grab this headline and go, this agent said this. I'm telling you, I'm saying it. I think we give them too much toffee sometimes. 100%. We get a player who wouldn't do that sometimes here as much, and then he goes there and it's like, oh yeah, because he's fitter, he's stronger. No, they're playing on better pitches. They're playing on, as you said this morning, wider pitches. That does help. I think we'll give him it on Test series. I don't think they'll know. As soon as I heard players are going to play for Samoa, Tonga and that, I said, well, Australia are weaker. The Australians I've watched, certainly, in the last 20 years, have always had they've always had the best players wanted to play for Australia. They're not going to do that. Fafita stopped it. His brother Andrew said, we all need to play for our heritage. That's going to happen. The best prop in the world. He's just come out and said the same. If that's true, we're going to sell out 3 Test matches. I think we'll give them it like they've never had. And I think what will happen is somebody will say, how can they be producing that level of player in England off a 1.8 cap and we've got a 12 million? I think there'll be massive questions asked in Australia. Now, so if I was our comp, I'd be securing our future before we get to there. If it's what I think, and we'll give them it. Yeah. First time we've ever beat him in a series. I think we'll beat him. Somebody said to me, in fact, I think a lot would go on. I think I'd say we will beat them 100%. As long as Wayne is brave with his decisions, as long as Wayne is brave and doesn't go for if he doesn't go for roll out the barrel and says, oh, well, I'm going to go for him because he gives me that bit of experience. No, you can't. Wayne, Sean, don't do it. Let's hit them with pace. Let's hit them with excitement.
We've got the best young players in the world at the moment.
We beat the last time we played the Aussies. We hammered them. We beat them 2-0 at Edinburgh. Morgan
in
Smith.
the youth academy.
Teams. We've never played them. Weirdly, they didn't want to come do it again. Well, they won't do. We thumped them all over. They haven't come since we hammered them at Edinburgh. And
is that true?
Well, yeah, it's not going to happen again, they're saying as well. Some people saying it won't happen again, we won't play. So, in my humble opinion, we have got the best young ones, and they probably know that.
And we've possibly got the best player in the world as well at the moment.
Well, you said that in the week, didn't you? That Mikey could be playing at a level now. That's just the scariest thing you've seen. Again, Wayne's got, let's get into that a little bit. Wayne's got the biggest cut at the moment. You've got Harry, you've got George, and you've got Mikey. My opinion, Mikey's playing on a level that is higher than the other two.
Yeah.
Wayne, historically, George is the captain. I would say George plays. By the way, I love Harry. Harry's proven. Harry in the Test match, I'm not about them 18, but unbelievable. Every time Harry's tested, it comes good. So this is not a dig at Harry. Wayne's got a thing, but at the moment, Mikey's playing, and I said this to him yesterday. I saw Danny Maguire do it for so many years out of his full career where he could just impact a game. Gale is 16 to 18. McShane, the one, I'm trying to talk the ones I had a lot to do with. Jamie Peacock said to me he got to a stage where he could impact a game. It only lasted about, a year and a half. But he said anything. I think Mikey's at that point now. He's quite early in his career, but his overall game now, I think he just injects when he wants to. I think his tempo is what he wants to. His kicking game's improved 100. By the way, big raps on Willie Peters. I know how hard Willie is at driving them, but I've got to give them massive raps. That improvement has got to come down to Mikey's relationship with Willie Peters, the way Hull KR have driven him. But he connects. Willie uses it everywhere. When Mikey challenged him very early on in his career, Willie said to Mikey, you're not going to be playing here. This is truthfully, if they're all honest, they didn't know whether it was a 9, a fullback or a 7. They were questioning it behind the... And Mikey just said, when I get in, I won't come out. I'm better than them. And Willie said he's used that with, even in Australia with young players, saying this little lad at 19 and a half told me that once he got in, it was all over because he was better than them all. He's proved it. He is better than them all. So I would say it's very exciting coming into what we'll do if we do the test series. By the way, well done the fans. We've got sellout Headingley. We've got sellout, you said, Liverpool.
Well, the Everton Stadium.
Yeah. Everton Stadium, and then Wembley. God, if we sell out Wembley. So it could be the greatest year in international rugby for Rugby League ever, especially if we win. So again, keep getting behind the Rugby League. Let's give these Aussies hell. And I sometimes think we haven't got no one big enough character, because maybe this show don't. We do it for ourselves to help Rugby League. We do it here. We finance it ourselves. But if Gus said something like that, we'll beat the Poms 3-0. I'd like to say, Gus, we'll beat you 3-0, and you ain't got a chance. And we should have a voice. We're sometimes scared to say it. I think we'll absolutely rip them. And I think if Sean gets it right, it'll be the best thing that Sean Wayne's ever done in his career, and it'll be Sean. You've done it. Even with his coaching staff, go bold. Don't roll out the barrel. We're not here to. Wayne's a winner, Don't go safe on anything. If the speed of the ruck's different and if things are happening different, get them lads in to help. Get the lads in who are watching the game in a different manner. People want to see it. I don't know about you with your sport, with tennis, Joe, me, when I played. I used to love a new coach. I used to think it was brilliant because you might just see something that nobody else does.
Yeah.
Hey, have you thought about your footwork there? Have you thought about this? You go, hey, what?
Yeah.
So for me, bring some fresh impetus in. And I think Sean's got to go, should we say balls deep, but I think he's got to come out and say in an interview, we will tear it, they're going to get it. And I think we need to be saying it now. And if that sells the last bit of corporate at Wembley Stadium and another 10,000, Sean, come out, get your staff together, get your captain together, and let's give him it. Let's give him it. So overall, looking at what we've seen, the most disappointed Huddersfield then for me are the Huddersfield and Cass at bottom two. I certainly didn't think Huddersfield won't pick up a point.
At this point, yeah. And they've had Salford as well, which obviously a shame about Salford, but they've had the team that you would think they'd beat with their circumstances at the moment. So, yeah, really sad. They had a few games in the middle of them six where people were getting positive. I knew your old mate Matt Shaw in his podcast was saying, I think they're going to win. A couple of weeks in a row. And it's never come.
Does Matt apologise for that week after, or did he do what Jimmy and Glenn will do and forget about it after?
I think he acknowledges it, yeah. I think
well done, Matt.
But yeah, Matt normally has his own nice little ego twist on it, doesn't he? Knowing Matt in a nice way, he normally has that joke. But I think, yeah, they're really, really disappointing. Injuries haven't helped. Obviously, that's the classic, but they have been ravaged by injuries, the whole spine. They're playing probably not only the backup spine, they're probably playing the third choice spine at the moment, so that's got to be said. But money, I think it's simple with Huddersfield. Money's not getting well spent in it. I think that's a tough statement for me to say, but the money's not getting well spent, and I think that's the worrying thing. Can they make the changes necessary? I don't know.
I think we expect them to be in bottom two. They are in bottom two. Nothing shocked me apart from I thought they might have scrambled a few results. They seem to be in games and then there's a switch off button, and that usually means confidence. So usually means if you can compete and then you get a try against you and then you look round a bit like Castro and you go, get ready. And then 2-3, I mean, the way they got blown away at that OKR second half or something like that, it was just that for me was the worst bit. It's the way they get blown apart, and when it happens, that's got to be worrying for the coaching staff. The club is people putting big scores on them quick. That worries me. So it's like behind goals, you're looking at your mates and you're going, we need to stop this straight away. Whatever we do, get this next set, and suddenly, and then the behind steps, the 20 odd behind, and you're thinking, oh no.
Yeah.
Whether they've got the characters in the right areas. Again, I keep saying this for probably bottom four clubs. have you got the characters in them pivotal positions who can get you back in it and keep the faith? It'd be interesting because of our next segment about the future of the game and what's happening. Huddersfield are at a pivotal point here.
Yeah.
Got to get the new stadium over the line so they can at least say, right, that's a massive thing. We're getting an 8,000 all-seat stadium. That's why there's no atmosphere in this stadium. We've all been complaining about the lack of atmosphere at Huddersfield for 10 years. So we'll tick that box if they get that. So that they can't blame that on performance if they get the new stadium. They've always produced a lot of academy kids. You look at it, but then they've always made some weird calls. And I always said this about Rich, and he's my friend. Rich always seemed to always had a massive trust with the coaches. And I think that's what's happened. The coaches haven't been accountable. And Rich just took everything, the stick Rich got. And I can remember thinking, I can only say this, I've said it numerous times. He never did a deal which he didn't tell me the coach wanted, ever.
Yeah.
Now, somebody's questioned, a couple of people may have questioned that, but I can only say from my angle, it was always Ian Watson, Nathan Brown, Paul Anderson, I can't remember the two Aussie coaches. It was always their thought. So I think they're the ones in the biggest trouble. I think Cass haven't spent 2.4, whatever it is. I'm sure Andy Kelly, Rich, or whatever it is, had put that right. The coaches, and I don't blame Luke Robinson sticking up for Luke. He's got in there, and they've given him a job, a bit like Danny, and it's a rebuild. And the young lads in a rebuild, and it's scary. It must be scary driving home, thinking, oh God, but bottom of league social media is prevalent now on absolute lunacy.
You'd have to delete social media for you.
I'm sure a lot of them do now, don't they?
Have to, yeah.
And I think that's part of being a modern day sportsman, and it's horrendous. And I'm sure Luke's taking some, and he's probably taking stick, and he's got Andy Kelly there, who's a good bloke round him, an older man. Danny's got Danny Wilson, where they might be just take a step back here. But two young coaches under the pump. And if they come out of the other side, you'll see a top coach. But they've got to come out of that other side. I do believe you do need to have this to become the coach you think you can be. They probably don't think it at the moment, having sleepless nights and and trying to make moves I think Huddersfield get their first team back. They're a better team than Cass. I think on the day they beat Cass, I don't think that's even debatable in my opinion. But I think, put that away, Joe.
Sorry, we had it for the.
So I think that Cass on their day of the season might scramble better than Huddersfield. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if they played each other with their best teams, I'd have to be on Huddersfield. But I think Cass can get points. I think Cass can scramble and get through it. At the moment, I don't see Huddersfield scramble.
No, the fight in it, it's not quite been there, is it, for a full 80-minute performance yet? We saw Cass do it against Salford, where things got a bit tougher a bit, and then a couple of players stood up and finished the game well.
When Salford beat Huddersfield, didn't they, that one?
Shocking, wasn't it? Don't get
that one. I thought that was rock bottom. I thought, wow, that is. And again, if it's true, there is a cap difference on spend on the pitch. The last one, Joe, and I don't want to go too much into these. These have had too much stick, so I don't think we should. It's not for us to discuss Salford's future. We've done that one privately, but they beat Huddersfield. They're in the last 8 of the Challenge Cup this weekend. They're going to lambs to the slaughter, if we'll be honest, at Catalans, I'd say, looking at the squad. Any result they get at the moment
marvellous.
Under that pressure is beyond belief.
Like I said, even with Huddersfield's trouble, the fact they beat Huddersfield, the way they did, they fought, they've come together, they all unbelievable. Paul Rowley's must be some coach, must be some man manager to motivate them players week after week. And I think the one I want to say, obviously, a couple of players got a bit of stick when they
didn't play. Yeah,
they've now refused to play, but there's no signs at the moment that anything's majorly changing. You can't blame him. It's horrendous getting paid late and getting paid by possibly not you people who should be paying you and getting paid other ways, and everything that's going on is just horrible for them. So I don't think the fact they've stuck together this long is marvellous. Most other teams, when this has happened, they're gone. Half the team's gone. A lot of them have stayed, and a lot of them are still fighting, and it's just unbelievable that they're doing it.
Well, there's a couple of things what I think that one is what happened to Ethan Ryan. Ethan Ryan got offered other clubs, stayed loyal, and then got injured. If Salford go under and he doesn't get offered that same deal, they've cost him a deal. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
That for me is the dangerous bit. When a player said I'm staying loyal, and then they don't survive and he loses the contract he could have won, I think there's duty of care there. If they say you've got to get a definite contract, that's where some calls need to be made. My opinion. The other one is we're still, like you said, we've still not heard enough good news about the future. It's payday and they're sat underneath the thing and hoping money comes through, and they're all must be horrific for the families. I don't hear that much on the RFL getting round them and this monster. We've had care. I think the RFL have pulled them out financially. Obviously, we know that.
Well, rumoured. No, that's still a rumour.
Well, still rumoured, but I think that I haven't heard any of the players saying about. A few times they have, but I think the old game could do a lot more. And the other one is, I spoke to Paul Rowley yesterday. If they're allowed to take players, let's say under 30 grand, and I use Riley Lum as an example at the time. If the winger at Leeds doesn't get injured, Riley would not have scored 5 tries and he'd have been perfect to go Salford, and he'd probably be as good as any winger they've got. I think there's 15 players like that around. I think them players are around. It's up to the league and Paul to go and get them. And I think if they're allowed that, they could shock the world. They could end up with 10, 12 points at end of the year with 7 or 8 players under 30,000 quid. And it could even be the most shocking thing on, no offence, like Sir Castle Huddersfield. That'd be absolutely horrendous, wouldn't it, that they can do it based on having some good players in, but putting these. And I'm telling you, emerging talent does come through. If you get that right, that Riley Lum does come through. All he needed is games. I still say, I said to Paul last night, I think there's 10 or 15 waiting. If the clubs will allow them to go.
Yeah.
Without taking their Salford's best players. It's like saying I'm helping Salford. If you give me Callum, I'll let you have these players. If you give me him, I'll get you have them. I don't think that quite works. I think if they're allowed to put players in under 30,000, it'd be sensational. And I tell you what, if you're asking me whether they'll finish bottom, I'd say no. Which is the other club should be shot. Really, if Salford beat any team, what they're going through, I can't even speak.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah. How?
I agree. Yeah.
They're not allowed more than 1.2 million on pitch, so they're playing 600 grand. Probably some teams $1 million less.
Yeah.
And they could end up not finishing bottom. That'd be just like, I don't know what excuses people would come out with, but it'd be shocking, wouldn't it? Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Right, quick one. We'll go straight into the Challenge Cup, Joe. I want to talk about the main game for me. I know, sorry for Warrington and St Helens, that might not be. Catalans and Salford and
Leigh and
Wakefield. But there's only one game. That's it. You can quote me on it. You can stick it where you want. I'm not where the sun don't shine. I've no interest.
Yeah.
It's on Saturday. We put it on the main BBC. I'm gonna assess them, and I hope when somebody does copy this and sometimes paste what I say, paste this bit. We can't do the Sky properly on the figures because of the stick. Everyone knows it. Sky have employed millions now, they're saying, trying to stop people using the Fire Sticks. So whatever we go to bargain for a deal, we can't go with the right figures. Because this probably, I don't know what it is now, it'd probably be 50-50. Who got the stick and who hasn't got the stick. So you're going with a deal and saying, I've got 800,000 people watching it. It could be 1.3. You don't know. No one knows. We don't know how many people are watching it illegally.
No.
Saturday, it's on BBC. Bollocks to your stick. We're not bothered.
Watch it on property.
This is on a free TV.
Yeah.
Rugby League, if you're listening, mate, and this is what the Rugby League should be saying. This is what all the clubs should be saying on Twitter. I said this to 2 chairmen yesterday. Make this the bargaining tool where you go to Sky and get the no deal, or DAZN and all these. Make this tomorrow and the semis and the final. This is a fair assumption. You've got prime time Saturday afternoon. You've got the whole derby with the first and second in the league. First and second in the league. They're going to kill each other. I already know. They're going to go at each other. I haven't seen enough aggression. They should be building this up like the World Heavyweight title fight. The first time two old teams have been first and second in the history of the clubs, I think, for 30 years. You've got old KR who are now holding the thing, and they're the things, but then Richie Myler and the lads are bringing it up and challenging them. It's absolutely unbelievable. And this game, let me tell you, I've watched Hull twice this year. They are like a bad smell. Honestly, you can't get rid of them. You cannot get rid of. If you've ever trumped in a room and you try and move away and that smell that follows you, this is what Hull are. That smells following Hull. I sat there at Wakey and I said to everybody sat round me, these will beat Wakey because they're not going to go away. They're going to stay in the game and end up beating. And some thing, Kev Army, mate, went, oh my God, I went, Kev, they did it at Wigan, they stay in the game. If Hull KR don't blow these away in the first half an hour with ruck speed penalties, there'll be 2 sending-offs in this game, by the way. Maybe 3. Sin bins. Don't know whether they'll send them off. There'll be hell on. There'll be apps. This is it. If KR get them on the, what does Mikey call it, the cycle, because Mikey will be a big target area. I've seen how they defend. They shoot in on halfbacks. That Cartwright's not playing, but they actually gun you. When you're coming out of yardage, all of the best team to put you away, they're looking to hurt you. And they're flying in and they're flying. That Rapiras, he is absolutely aggression from every. Matty Pete said it to me. He said, mate, he is absolute. And he's ripping and he's challenging and he's stood over here. Come on. This is going to be an absolute unbelievable match. Give the people watching, Joe, because like I said, we need to watch it. If we break the record for watching a quarter-final, then we can use this to negotiate. It could save us having to give us the NRL, all our comp, at a diluted price, by the way. Great point this week off a big chairman. Even if the NRL want to come, don't sell now because we're at our lowest ebb. Let's build it up and then we'll get a few million more if that happens. So this is, please, and it should be IMG, it should be the Rugby League, it should be the clubs. Get rid of your egos. Pump this old derby and use these figures for next 10 years. Joe, there's no pressure on you. Build up the match.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Are you going black and white, red and white? Are you going Willie Peters? Are you going John Cartwright? Are you going Richie Myler v Paul Lakin? Paul Lakin's known as the new kid on the block and he's got the moves, but Richie Myler's coming along going, here, Paul, I've got some moves and all. Have some of this, Laco.
I think it's the Twitter, the Gargantuan Club, Hull FC, the Gargantuans versus the Red Robins come singing along, as they say. It's yeah, like I said, it's going to be some game. Hull FC just playing some good football. Like I said, it's tough rugby with 2 bouts of excitement. You've got, obviously, depending if Barron's back or not, apologies, I don't know, but obviously you've got big Lou Martin on the edge. Give him a gap, he's taken it, he's done Bevan, he's done them all now this year. He's scored more tries, or he's about to score more tries in 10 games than any Hull player's ever done. He's on fire. Then you've got obviously just Harvey Barron on the other wing, whose carries and overall games just been a monster, just been electric. And then you've got this pack that are just ripping everyone apart. You've got Asiata and SASA that are the best 1-2 punch in the middle. I think in the know for fact, in my opinion, in the league, the best 1-2 punch in that middle. 218 stone blokes that can move, tackle, defend for 65, 70 minutes. It's just brilliant.
Well, his matchup, the big lads matchup, what's it called?
Asiata.
With Hargreaves. Hargreaves come over here with the biggest reputation.
SASA, sorry, with the
SASA.
2 props.
Hargreaves has come over here as the biggest enforcer reputation since Sam Burgess and his pom, Adrian Morley and his pom.
Yeah.
He's squared them all up over there. He's been renowned for taking on anybody. he's not had a chance yet. This is why I'm saying about the sin bins. Willie won't like this, but I think Hargreaves is brought over for this match. This is why he's here. He will not. I'm telling you. Here's one for you. You played in some of the biggest games of all time. Get ready for the noise that he is. I'm telling you. I've watched his family when he's there, and he's watching it, and he can't believe the crowd. Well, this is the old derby, and I think it's whether he goes for him.
Yeah. Because
he's getting up, he's running mock through everybody.
Yeah.
But if you put them two names in Australia, they'd say Hargreaves will smarten him up. They'd be on Hargreaves for the heavyweight title shot.
Yeah.
You know, we should be building that matchup up. But I tell you, I think Hargreaves goes for him on first thing and goes for him like you've never seen.
That'd be great.
And he'll stand and show everybody. That's why I've been here. And I think he's going to go for him.
I hope so.
And I think he's in changing rooms now, saying to lads,
kick it to him.
Honestly, you're right. Kick it to him. Yeah. I'm going to put him away. I'm telling you. And I think this clash is on. And the clashes are everywhere in that game. I think the clashes. You just said the outside backs. If Logan's playing, which at the moment you'd say he might be.
Yeah. Well,
it's one of the youngest back three lines ever in a derby. You've got Logan, how old? 20.
Yeah, 20.
Martin,
21.
Barron, 22.
2, yeah.
That's probably the youngest back three in the history of a derby.
I don't think it will. Well, it might be Logan, but because the same Will Pryce is going to play.
Well, that's even more spice.
So that would be. So I think it would be Caesar, Pryce, maybe Rapana at fullback. I'd love Logan.
It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing what's going to happen.
If Will Pryce plays, that would bring another bit of spice to it all.
Well, you'd in V Mikey, that's a fantastic matchup, isn't it?
In V, yeah.
Will's gone over there and come back and you know. See, it's weird, isn't it? And this is another one for the Australia one. And I said this to a lot of people. You go over to Australia like Will did. Unbelievable achievement. No regrets. You can't have any regrets. You've seen another side of life. Lad from, Leeds, Bradford has ended up going to Newcastle and he's scored in that thing, whatever. He had a fantastic debut and everyone's on about him. And then he's realised, probably this is tough, because I'm used to playing every week and I'm not going to play every week. I might only play 1 in 6. So the journey is not as, this beautiful holiday in the Bahamas. It's raining some days. The service is not great. Do you get me? There's a little bit more to this bullshit that's sold to this unbelievable dream, and it's amazing. You don't see your family, you're a bit lonely. When you're not playing, you ain't got your normal backup. You can't go for a coffee with 80 of your best mates. Shut up, Will, boring. Let's talk about, something else. You're probably talking about rugby 24/7. You walk past and they're having coffees. You know what I mean? So all this, bringing him into this derby, it might be the best thing for young Will to get him back on the horse. But he's against the best player in the comp, in my opinion, at the moment. The best player in the comp is Mikey.
Yeah, well, you ruined my line. I was waiting for you to pass it along. But
I know Bevan. You'd say Bevan historically is the best player, without a doubt. There's no that's over the last 5 years.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Bevan's won. I think on current form, Mikey. And I don't think Jez is that far behind her. I think Jez is chasing Mikey.
Jez and Mikey is a 1-2 combo. Might be the best 1-2 combo in the world. And the Aussies always give us stick, but I generally think I watch a lot of Australia. There's a lot of good combos, but them two together this season has been just, they've been unstoppable. So I'm really
Sean Wayne again. We're gonna do a segment one day next month on our England squads, and I keep thinking about that. Keep thinking, will he play Jez? And if he's got to come out of where you are, kid, in that Lancashire, come out to it. We want you to come to Yorkshire, East Yorkshire, Leeds. But I doubt you've had a better hooker this year than Jez on form, and I think that pressure should be put on you. Sean, we believe in you, we're all behind you, but we need to put pressure on you to make them calls. Don't roll out the barrel, kid. Roll out the barrel. We can't.
Predictions, son.
When this is not against Mickey Mack. When Mickey Mack played about 18 months ago for England, they brought him back to play. Yeah. I didn't think he was that same Mickey. That's not against Mickey. He's been brilliant.
Yeah.
But it was a safe choice of him knowing Mickey since it was safe. You can't do that this time.
Well, no, I'm talking about prediction for the game. We're not.
Oh, sorry. That is a prediction for whether Jez is going to play.
No.
The prediction for the game will be 2 sin bins, maybe 3. Hargreaves and the battle in the middle will win the game. Mikey's made for derbies. I said that to him when I did spot him at 17 and nobody else did. That story will come out one day. I think he will. He'll be the devouring. He'll be the difference whether they win or lose. I think if he's in the current mood, he's just had a baby yesterday. So that's, to be fair, there's no sleep for 4 days. You know what I mean? There'll be a lot going through. He'll be on the quest from emotion. So Willie's going to have to drag him back down because he's an emotional player anyway. Going into a derby on Saturday after you've had a baby and your best player in comp, listen, he loves pressure, so he might be the one person who just goes, I love it because it's all about me. He's actually that type of lad. Come on, son, bring it on. So I think if Fuller in that game, in that second half, you could do with an in-play predictor and go, oh. But I think if a KR get him in that cycle in that first half an hour, there'll be most penalties in a game.
I don't think
Hull have got to slow it down. There's no way Hull can go. There's no way Hull are driving a car at speed. The way Hull KR pick and roll is totally different to Hull. Hull haven't got that quick play at balls. They like to set. Caesar likes to put the play on when the time's right. The more Catalans and more Gailey 17, they like to set and then play KR off the ruck. So you've got this craziness going up at KR. If you can't stop that, you've no chance. Because Willie spends the first 20 minutes putting 15 box kicks up, kick chase, and then he lets them loose. Then he just opens door and goes, they're knackered, kill him. Because he thinks, and I said it public, do you think KR are the fittest team in the league? They haven't had an injury yet.
Yeah.
Evans goes to Huddersfield, plays 1 game out for 3 months. You can't believe it, but Huddersfield must be jinxed. He's played all KR fit every week. He's played 20 minutes there. He's out for 3 months. It's unbelievable, isn't it? People asked me the other day, what do all KR do different? Well, they spend fortunes on prehab and rehab and conditioners. They've got biggest back room. Think of them and Wigan had that biggest back room staff.
Yeah.
To make sure that they... Do you get me?
Everything. Which means you get... Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying... So that's his... I've got to go on form. You've got to go all KR by 12. You've got to. I don't think that's... You might change.
No, I agree, yeah. But didn't want to say the same as you. I was hoping you'd go a bit different. But yeah, I think KR by 12. Mikey don't score, I'd say I'd be shocked. And I think, like you said, I think you just want to see a great game. I think at the end of the day, whatever the score is, as long as it's a good game. I spoke to my mate Joey, massive Hull FC fan. He's going into it saying, you know what, I just want us to play well. We've lost to them year after year now. I just want them to see them do well. It's the time for them to do well. It's the time for the young lads to execute a good game against KR. And I think if they do and they lose by a try, they're all right. But let's see some magic. Let's see Lou Martin score a 60-yarder. Let's see Mikey do a 1. Let's see Jez just run amok in the
all
middle.
All homegrown lads then. Amazing.
All homegrown lads. So let's see it. It's the right way. Let's get into it.
It's weird, isn't it? I wonder how much pressure... I've dealt with Hull, Ferkel and Richie, especially Richie. I wonder if they've actually had a chance to get Pryce, but they've made sure he comes before Derby. I think Richie, that's the way he thinks. He's a very proactive thinker, you know. He's like, we talk about the opinions of people get suffocated in our game of shit. The drainers win every time. They start making you think that there's not a future, there's not this, there's not that. Richie's completely different. He's not involved in any of that. He just thinks it's amazing being a CEO. He said it's the best job I've ever had. Obviously, being a rugby player. He said, I love it. I love every day. I love doing this. I'm like, looking at him going, can you imagine him, no offence, I could name 4 CEOs if you sat next to him and be like,
shut up.
Wait 15 years, could you be like, oh, you know, that's what you get. Paul's a forward thinker. So I think it's the most amazing derby in the world at the moment. I told you, I can't believe I ain't got seats. It's only because how busy we've been lately. I wish they'd do. I wish they'd play the academy under 18s before.
They probably will in the league. Challenge Cup
before. Or in the league, whatever. I'd like to see that before, even if it's Challenge Cup, and just so the fans can come early and then that ferociousness of getting into that. Sell out, sell it all around the world, every rugby fan. Do you know what I've been doing?
We need to crack on with it. We've done 25 minutes.
I'm telling you, it's that big. I'd have this in Australia, Papua New Guinea. I would sell this separately as a separate item. The Hull Derby had a sold for 3 million as a package, a state of origin. I'd said, this is this big. I think we can do all sorts with this game. Amazing. But I've got KR by 12. If it's halfway through the game and we call them the bad smell, if they're there,
within two points, the bad smell.
They'll be no, and it'll be, and they'll just, Caesar's cool head will come through and something will happen. But I've got a good KR by 12. Right, we've got another 3 fixtures. We'll do these quick. I know, I'm not bothered. I'm not apologising for this. I'm not apologising, because if we're going to get this big TV deal, we're going to get the old. I'm telling you, Saints, Warrington, fantastic fixture, fantastic players. Both teams, we've just said, question marks, weirdly, when they're both in good positions.
Yeah.
Warrington dug the result out last week. Were it against Leeds?
Yeah.
Yeah. Saints have been digging results out and grinding their way. I'm on Saints by 4-6. I think it'll be a close game. I just think Saints will have that forward, that speed in the ruck, just to get him. Toby King's still not playing. I think he's massive for Warrington. I think he's got another week. I hope I haven't said anything there that anybody can pull me up on. But I just think he's back next week or the week after. And I don't know if Young Thulis is playing on the wing or both. I think there's just a little bit there. I'm still not amassed on, I don't know, the half-back situation. We all like, what's it called, the little lad who played last year, still not
Leon
back. Leon's still not back, is he? And he was.
We've got Sneed and George now.
We've got Sneed and George, which
that's
probably bad for Leon. Steedy will be a big time player.
They said he's got man of the match and won him the game against Leeds, didn't they? So he's had a good start to his Warrington.
So you're right, bad comment by me. Yeah, sorry, Steedy. I'm still on Saints by 4-6.
I'm on Warrington by 4-6.
Come on, Ben, got it.
I think Sneedy's, even though the principle of it's not brilliant for me, like I said, with these young halves they've brought in or got within their own system, and they've brought Sneedy in. Obviously, it's against our culture, our philosophy as an agency a bit, but he's on form at the moment. He's one of the best halves in leagues. Again, I don't know how Sneedy does it. Every time they said he's gone, he revitalises. He comes back and plays better, and he won them the game versus Leeds for Salford. He won them the game for Huddersfield, nearly won them the game for Cass when he were hitting, I think he hit 240-20s or 20-40, just had cigar on, nearly got him the win there. So I think he's probably below Mikey, he's probably the next in-form halfback. So I think Sneedy and Williams is a combo that I think with Saints, with their injuries, again, in that outside back line, it's a young Benison, Robertson, it's young. Whether that can get them through this, I'm not sure yet. And I think Saints' combinations are still learning. Wellesby, Lomax and Sailor getting there. There's bits of each one's had a bit of magic, but I've not seen the full game with them all just working in tandem yet. That's Clark and perfectly. That's Clark's against his old club, isn't it? I've got Warrington. I think Warrington win this.
Brilliant. Sam B. Paul, I'm sure we'll get some stick-off lines because we've done the big derby and we're only giving them about 3 minutes.
We go mental every time.
We're going to do a massive one next time, I promise you. Leigh Wakey blew Leigh away last week and did it with ease. And if it had carried on the game, it'd have been, maybe double that score. Leigh have got a few back this week, I've heard.
Rugby.
I think another one as well. A big.
Armstrong's back as well, isn't he?
I think he played. I think they've got a few back anyway. I think Wakey go into game as favourites, even though you'd have thought on the run Leigh would have in, then they've dropped off. But because they've dropped off, I think Wakey will fancy it. Wakey's forwards were immense the other day. They didn't need. I can't say this hard, but true is that we always said if Tweed don't play, Wakey will lose. the forwards are carrying them through that game. They're just too fast, too strong. Darryl then puts the system in, and it's things. So I think they go into the game fancying this. Your problem is I think because when they won the league, when they won the Challenge Cup, Derek had such an effect on Derek. You know, if they missed the left, I think Degsy wouldn't. Sounds terrible. This, I think he'd have been fuming about the result, Lammy, and that. But I think their big target will be this week.
Yeah.
Your problem is I think Wakey see this as their trophy. If they're not going to win the grand final this year, it's a rebuild. I think they fancy Wigan's out. I think they're all game on.
Yeah.
Leeds are out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So you're looking.
I won't put Leeds in the
list.
list.
Well, I would as a cup team, and I'd said Leeds. I wouldn't like to play Leeds anywhere, any time of day. I think Leeds are capable of beating any top 4 teams anytime they want. So on a one-off, so you've got 2 one-off teams who can blow you away. This is up for grabs. One of the old teams are going out, and one of the favourites, Warrington Saints, are going out.
Yeah.
So someone's thinking, aye. We know Matt at Wakey, the chairman, I'm telling you, if he thinks in his first year he could get that suit and walk out at Wembley Stadium with 80,000, that's why he's put 3 million in it. They say that's why Derek, after 10, 15 years, got his moment at Wembley in the sun and best day of his life. So, Catalans, you'd have thought Catalans are going to go through against Salford, not being disrespectful to Salford, it's a 25 to 1 shot.
Yeah.
So let's just say you've got Catalans through. Let's say Warrington beat Saints, Hull KR. You're 1 game away from Wembley, and 2 of the biggest historical hitters in the world, Leeds and Wigan, are not in it. So I think this is so crucial. I think one of these 2 out of Leigh and Wakey are in final. How's that for you? Whoever win, I think one of these 2 are in final. I think they'll beat Catalans if they get them at home, and they beat Catalans if they get them away.
It's not just Catalans they might face.
Yeah, but I'm saying if one of
they
these,
do forget the Catalans, but that's a big if, isn't it?
A big if, but I think both teams, either way of this draw, will fancy Catalans whoever gets them.
Well, yeah, anyone would at the moment. Probably behind Salford, the lowest ranked team in the league.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a tough game. I think Wakey's injuries are just at the wrong time. I think Leigh's are coming back at the right time for the Challenge Cup run. I think they won. It's tough because, like you said, they won so comfortably last week. But on paper, and the injuries coming back, and how it's happening, Chewy, Corey. I think they've had one of the middles.
Corey's back.
Oh, is Corey back?
He's playing. He's back.
So it's just Chewy and is the full back. That's
no.
So it be I've got Leigh. Then I've got Leigh. I think.
I think it'll be close because I think Lammy. I think Lammy on is the most influential player on the pitch. Young Lammy on, he's the most. Yeah, and I think just purely because of. I think I've got a feeling that last week they'll use that as motivation, but. I'm on Wakey, and the reason I'm on Wakey is just the way their forwards went about the business. Steve Mills could be a genius by end of the year. Because name me one at Wakey forwards who you knew before they came to Wakey.
Oh, Mike McMeekin.
No, the Australians.
Well, none, but you can't name that for many.
Let's name Hargreaves.
Well done, genius. Name.
So he's brought a load of.
Leeds is 2. You won't be able to name them.
One of them I thought I could, but one of them I couldn't. I think Steve's brought.
Never named how you say
I think Steve's brought Queensland Cup props over here, and we're seeing how he's done it. I think it's going to be something special. If the one who came back 2 weeks ago, what best player last year?
Kai Rodwell, I think.
Unbelievable! Unbelievable.
Yeah, Rodwell's been. Yeah,
I said to Steve, I already haven't got clauses in for NRL because I think he'll lose a couple by the year, but. I do think that forward pack, like you said, Robbie's the one Terminator who can take them on. But if they get the roll on and the penalties, when Leigh start giving penalties and field position, they didn't score because of there's no respect to halves. They didn't score because of halves. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like sometimes Truey plays and you're thinking if Truey gets ball, they're going to score. they were scoring because of every other player. The forwards were just marching it. They were hitting lines from everywhere.
Mike McMeekin, for my ratings, been second best player in the league by Mikey. I think.
Agreed. Great shout.
Mike's been unbelievable. He's in games where the other props haven't played well for Wakey. He's been the one that's
been the Alex Mellor job, hasn't it? He's in his own carrying that.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. So, but I've still got Leigh. I think Leigh, the right time for him. Deggs is all in on the Challenge Cup in his he's all in. That's what he wants. That's what he loves. I think he's been selling it all the time. I think he's got some. It's all going in on this game to get him through. Like you said, he probably sniffs the final. Like you said, if you get a Catalans or probably rate them. Probably think they've got a chance against Hull FC. Maybe a out of form Warrington or Saints, even though they are in form as we've covered. So they probably think they sniff that final. Just need to get through a Wakey team on the roster.
I wonder who, if you're a purist, who, and for the benefit of the game, let's use that comment what they've been using on the refs, the benefit of the game. Who do we need in semi and who do we need in final, Joe? Let's get rid of our agent heads.
No, not.
I want all my personal players playing in all them games, but I'm taking that away, so please don't say how come we didn't. But we probably need, for the game to be a monster game, let's say Hull KR beat Hull, and it's going to be a venue. Is it the semi-finals? Will be a
sometimes, I don't know. They did Ellen Road.
So we need. Let's say we get KR in, we get Warrington or Saints, one of them in. Hull at the moment. This is a good fact. Hull at the moment are bringing more away fans than they reckon than anybody else.
FC, okay.
Hull FC. Are bringing absolutely at Wakey. It were crazy. OKR massively travel. Both of them clubs are carrying the can of travelling in big numbers. Some of the Lancashire clubs are not coming in big numbers, like it was. I saw some empty seats at Warrington last week, and I was like, "What's going on here?" It's supposed to be the marketing geniuses of the league, and they've got empty spaces in the thing. I think they're saying 9,000 at home now. That's with.
9 or 10, yeah.
The way fans bring in, quite good numbers.
2 or 3, yeah.
So we certainly need people in it who are going to bring loads of numbers and travel. I think both all clubs are travelling 10, 12,000, and then if you got 2 teams bringing that, you've got your stadium full, don't you? Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe 6 or 8, I don't know what it'll be. But I'd like to think we've never needed a more important semi and final in the history of our game. I think we need a monster semi-final, quarter-final. The dream of being a derby in the final, wasn't it? The old derby, Wembley.
Well,
we still living on the one in the 80s. When I was a kid, I used to drop paper off him as a young lad, and that they played together in the final, and it was just the most amazing thing ever. So, let's hope it's unbelievable. I'm not apologising again. Up the old derby. Everyone's sick of me saying it already, but I'm telling you, it's going to be absolutely best game ever Saturday afternoon. Full of excitement, and that's a wrap up. From me, Sean with the money, from Joe with the money. Player of the week, Joe, before we go.
What player
for the Challenge Cup, name me one player you've got as your...
Obviously you've got, without going the obvious 1 or 2, I'm going to go... I'm going to say the obvious, obviously 1 or 2 here, but let me think of one. I want to go
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm trying to not go obvious. I'm trying to not go obvious, but I've said Warrington win, KR win, Leigh win. So I'll go with Leigh play. I'll go our man. I'll be biased. Rob Mullen coming back from injury. Their forms fell off a cliff since he's been off. I think if Robbie performs, Leigh wins, and I think he'll get a lot of respect after this week. Not that he doesn't have it, but get a lot more respect and a lot more plaudits after this week if they go off and after getting beat comfortably by him. If they get the win, Robbie Mullen is my player to watch. See if he makes a difference in that battle. I'm on
Jess Litton to win the derby with a quick ruck against the slower legs in the middle. 25 minutes to go. The game's tight. And I just see the blitz, and it'll be a 40-metre break, bang, game over, handing stand, ex-Hull player, and they'll be dancing in Hull for the rest of the weekend. Thank you.
Joey would. Joey
Lewis has got one.